Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I thought I would finally tell you what modules I picked here because I think I said I was going to do a video about the modules I picked ages and ages ago and then I just never did. So this video is going to be about how I picked the modules, which modules I picked, why I picked them, and so on and so on and so on. When I arrived in Vienna, I wasn't really sure how the module selection was going to work because at home in the UK you're given your timetable. In France I had to make my own timetable, so I wasn't really sure how it worked here. But for me it works a little bit differently. Because I study French and German at home, I've been nominated here for translation studies. So it's a bit difficult when you're studying languages because you don't just follow one subject field, if that makes sense. For example, if at home I was studying history, here I would be directed to the history department. But because I'm studying French and German, they basically told me it was the same as in France. They said, look, you should try and pick modules from the translation department, but because you're studying languages you can just pick any as long as they're in German or French, which is practically all of them because I go to a German speaking uni. So I had a look at some of them. It was a bit tricky because you had a deadline to register for, and they're split into seminars and lectures. A lecture is a Vorlesung and a seminar, it's called a UE, but I don't actually remember what that stands for. Anyway, and it's the Vorlesung, the lectures you can just go to, but the seminars, they have a maximum capacity, so you have to register for them. And different departments have different register deadlines. So I registered for a couple of classes in the translation centre, and then I wanted to register for some classes in various different departments, but a lot of the deadlines, I think by the time I got here, had actually passed, which is fine because I could find most of the ones I wanted to do in the translation department. So that wasn't a bad thing. So I registered for several different ones, and they advised you to register for more than what you needed, because if you didn't get into a class, then you had a backup plan. And there were some that they said, as an Erasmus student, even if a class is at full capacity, it will probably just be added on anyway. But there might be cases, for example, when a translation student needed to be in that class, so there were priorities there. For my timetable, my grades don't actually count here again. How I get my marks for my placement year is through a piece of work that I'm doing for my university at home. So I am doing something called a year abroad project, which is split into two. It works differently for everybody doing their year abroad based on what they're studying at Aston. But for me, because I'm a dual language student, I had to choose. It's split into two things. So I've got a project of 6 questions I have to answer. And then I also have an essay that I have to write, a 1,000-word essay, which isn't graded. It's graded as a pass or a fail, but it's actually, I get my marks from a presentation and a spoken conversation about my essay. So I have to write the essay and then I have to speak about it, and it's the speaking that I get my marks from. So I decided to do my questions in German and my essay in French. And that's what my marks will be for this year. So my exams here don't actually matter. I have to sit them, but the grades that I get for them don't actually count, which is great because it means I can enjoy my time here. I'm not so stressed, and also I'm in a lot of my classes I'm in with German speakers, so I'm at a little bit of an unfair, it's not a fair playing field. So it's good that my marks don't count, and the pass grade here is actually loads higher, so you have to get 60% to pass here, whereas at home it's 40, which makes more sense to me because how can you pass a module and not even know half of it, you know what I mean? Like at home, 40% is a pass, but 40% isn't half. So how can you pass a module and not even have to know half of it? It doesn't make much sense, but I'm not complaining anyway. So yeah, it's harder to do well here or harder to pass. So I'm happy that my marks don't matter, and also it means that I can enjoy my time here, and I'm not so stressed, because if my grades did matter, I'd be studying a lot more. I'd be in my room, I wouldn't be as social, I wouldn't be booking weekend trips, I wouldn't be going out, I wouldn't get to do so many things. So it does make sense that my grades don't matter here. When I made my timetable, because I had to pick my classes, I had to pick 30 credits, exactly, yeah. I had to pick 30 credits, I did 30 in France. When I made my timetable, I wanted to kind of make the most of the fact that my marks don't matter. I wanted to pick a mixture of lectures and seminars, but I also kind of wanted to have a 3-day weekend if it was possible, so, you know, try and push all my lectures together, all my 30 credits in the middle of the week. And I actually did manage to do that fairly well. So on Mondays I have the day free from uni, and I finish on a Friday at 1 o'clock. So I've got quite a long weekend, which is really nice. So on a Tuesday I have one lecture. It's from 1:15 until 4:30. So it's a fairly heavy going lecture, 3 hours long, over 3 hours long. It's worth 5 credits, and it's women's and gender history in Austria in the 19th and 20th century. This lecture is really interesting. It's pretty dense. There's a lot to take in, obviously a lot of German. All my lectures are in German. I have one translation module, I'll get onto it later. But most of them are in German, yeah. But that's my only one on a Tuesday, so I just have that one big lecture. On a Wednesday is my busiest day, so I'm in uni all day. I start at 9:45, and for an hour and a half I have text and written communication in German. Which is also really good. I really like this lecture. It was worth, all the rest of my modules were worth 4 credits. My lecture is really nice. Sorry, this isn't a lecture, this is a seminar. Text and written communication. After that I have a lecture, and that's text and culture, German B language. So in Austria, if you're doing translation, interpretation, blah, 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 you'll be asked to split your languages A, B, C, D, blah, blah, blah. So I'm English A language, because English is my mother tongue, and then German's my B language, French is my C language. This is really interesting. So it's all about culture of Austria, basically. I've learned a lot in this lecture. So that's from 11:30 till 1, and then I have a break on Wednesdays for 2 hours, which is really nice because I can go and have some lunch. I usually go to a sushi restaurant because the sushi is really cheap here. So I go and have a 2-hour break with some sushi, and then I have another hour and a half lecture, which is language and text competence for translation, German B language as well. So this is all about like German grammar and also text skills, so reading skills, analysing text, that sort of thing. This one's not as good. I find it quite boring. Obviously it's good to listen to German all the time and be in contact with the language, but I don't find this lecture quite as engaging. And then I have another hour and a half lecture from 4:45 until 6:15, which is linguistics. And I love this lecture, but it's really heavy grammar, like really heavy grammar. Really interesting, and the lecture's really nice. But yeah, it's pretty tough going. I'll have to do a lot of revision for that exam. And yeah, so that's it for Wednesday. Thursday I have off, which is really nice. And then, like I said, on Friday I finish at 1, so I start at 9:45. I have 2 seminars. One of them is French, so I chose to pick one French module here. I actually potentially would have done more, but when I registered for the classes, I thought I only had to do 16 credits here for some reason. I can't remember why, I had a bit of a mix-up. So I only registered for one, and then when I realised I had to do 30 credits here, it was too late to register for any more seminars. But that's fine because I spent a semester in France last term, and yeah, I wanted to focus on German here anyway. But this one is Functional Grammar and Stylistics, which is basically French grammar. Which is really good because grammar's my favourite part of a language, but also the part that I find most fundamental and that can always do with improving. I could always improve my French grammar, so that's good. My teacher is such an inspiration. I'm so jealous of her. She's half Austrian. No, she's not. She's half German, half French, so she speaks both languages like a native. And yeah, my aspiration in life. She's really nice, and that seminar is an hour and a half, and then I finish on a Friday from 11:30 till 1 with a translation module that's from German into English. So this class is actually in English, obviously with a little bit of German here and there because we're working with German texts or videos or anything German and translating it into English. So I still have to speak German a little bit, I still have to work in German, but predominantly the class is in English. Yeah, so that's all my modules. I'm pretty happy with my module choices. They're a nice mix of seminars and lectures, which is good. For those of you, I'm not sure, I mean, I think all of you would know, but basically if you don't know, a seminar is more interactive. So you can engage with the class, engage with the teacher, you do group work, stuff like that, whereas a lecture, you're being lectured, so there's someone usually at the front who will talk at you rather than with you. But yeah, it's nice to have a couple of both. I don't know if any of you will have been interested to know what modules I've picked here, potentially some of you, or if anyone is thinking about doing a year abroad. That's it. I will probably leave this video here then because I want to try and keep it short. Yeah, I hope that you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video sometime soon. Bye.